In 1979, around 35 years ago, I designed a black book with B5 paper size and around 3 centimeter thick. The 400-page book has black paper, black ink, and wrapped in deep black, and I have loaded it with the light of the stars that originate in the space. The title is Jen Uchushi, Sama Cosmographica. In this single book, I have poured in all the light that originates from the diverse Milky Way galaxy and outer space in its entirety into bookmaking and text. In other words, I have gone all out with the book design. This book has been a project which scientifically pursues the new cosmology that was inspired by the rapidly developing radio astronomy in the 70s. It captures the entire cosmology comprehensively to even include a broad cultural viewpoint. The planning and the editing of this book was done by Mr. Shigo Matsuoka in his prime. The Sama Cosmographica was commenced with Mr. Matsuoka's conception as the visual director from the beginning. I devoted all my senses to understanding what kind of layout would best encompass the universe, how best to design a visual book that is filled with plenty of images. Every part is flecked with the glow of the stars and beads of light from the stars. While the starlight conflicts with the text and closes in on the borders of many images, it permeates through the universe and wraps in the twinkle of heavenly bodies. In the beginning, there is the revolving cosmos. This is the introduction presented by Mr. Matsuoka in the first page. Everything from the elementary particle to the various cosmic phenomena follows the theory of solid of revolution. This book describes the attempt to capture their disorderly rotation in the universe. The book expands on 8 themes. Let us now open the page. Firstly, there is the universe from the viewpoint of time. At the same time, there is the universe in terms of space. Furthermore, there is the structural universe. For example, there is the cosmology that captures the new cosmic theories, namely the Big Bang theory, the steady state model, or the cosmic inflection theory. The underlying data of information is obtained by analyzing the radio waves that are constantly emitted from space, such as the universe as the source of radio waves collected by radio astronomy and the birth of nebulae and stars. Moreover, there is the universe of the phenomena that are visible to us, like the composition of the solar system. Moreover, as for modern cosmology, there is the astronomy targets the contrasting astronomical pursuits of the ancient people. And then there is the universe, that is the conception of human beings for having been raised with that image. Lastly, I would like to aid the approach of all physical and kinetic mechanisms in the universe. While focusing on these 8 directions, the compilation of Sama Cosmographica was carried out. By the way, while looking at this image, the space in between the characters has a portion that you might notice is a little warped. If we expand and see, the character of this text converge at distance. That is to say, It's not a simple plane, but a curved surface that holds the concept of near and far. Crossing the space diagonally, it is arranged such that it becomes a soft curve. Words and character come along in a wave motion. While understanding this, if we look at the first introduction page again, without conflicting the space of a normal book, which is restricted to the horizontal and the vertical, it is noticeable that the character space appears rotated. Already from the beginning of this book, I have endeavored to express using the inclined character composition that the universe is not a perfectly straight lattice. Every corner of the universe contains gravitational anomalies. It is a curved space with distortion. Actually, on those days, creating such a curved character composition was a difficult operation. In other words, we tried the labor-intensive process of printing the manuscript with picture typesetting and shooting it again using cameras and using the photo process version as printing plate. In this book, Summa Cosmographica used up this kind of time and effort, and with the assistance of many members of staff, it arrived completion. This is the index. How the 8 cosmologies are unfolded can be perceived in detail. Then this is the text page of famous American science critic Martin Gardner. If you look at this closely, you would notice that there is a stealthily conceived curvature throughout the writing. The printing paper finished completely with the text was shot on camera while rotating the paper in front of it. Every corner of the character composition had to be in focus. Speaking of the camera efficiency, creation ability of the block copy at that time, this was the limit to the degree of curvature that could preserve the sharpness of the text. In this way, challenging the artistic limits of that time, we went on as a team to complete Summa Cosmographica. There indeed was no book like this at that time. Well then, let us look at the main part. For example, the sun. It is about the sun which allows life actions to flourish on Earth's surface. Also, there is the diagram of the sun as a sort of a star that Mr. Tsutomu Toda created for us with a new technique. And then here is the use of black hole or gravitational space. This is comet's beam of light. Comets that are surely pouring down from the skies have been designed in such a way that from the first they can be seen as inversely rising up towards the sky as a cluster of light. It's an endeavor to take up the gravitational sensation of something visual. And then there is the falling of a meteorite. Not just the science of stars in the final chapter, the cosmology that expands within the human impression is taken up in different forms. This is the diagram of cosmology described in Dante's incredible music. Various internal cosmologies. The cosmologies contrived in Asia, Africa, and ancient civilizations. The internal cosmologies that exceed expectations are taken up. And then this comes as an occasion for Summa Cosmographica to be conceived by Mr. Matsuoka. Cosmic Essays from Taruho Inagaki, a super extraterrestrial kind of a writer. All these images, covered in black ink, make frequent appearances in the darkness. The tube spread is one of the units of Summa Cosmographica. Inside this 2-page spread, little areas are fixed to expand on special themes. If we segregate by color, we get these zones. 4 zones appear. For example, the bottom right of the right side page, the bottom side of the edge of a page, the part facing in blue color now, it is an area that introduces astronomers. From Pythagoras to Carl Sagan. 151 astronomers who were enchanted by the stars are introduced with their portraits. If you flip the pages, you will be able to see the lineage of those who were enchanted by the study of distant stars. The upper area of the inner margins of the left page is named Instruments Collection, which displays astronomical observation instruments or spaceships. On the other hand, the space on the upper right side is the Star Study corner. Images from fields of star study apart from astronomy are collected here. Furthermore, the lowest portion of an open page in around 12 mm of long and narrow width is the scale chart. In other words, a space where many different scales are lined up together. Scales that are based on various phenomena of the universe are lined up in a single row. While flipping through the pages in the long and narrow space, data of time, distance, mass, illuminance, energy appear successively from small objects to big objects. For example, this is the time scale. Next is the distance scale, then mass, density, illuminance by means of a scale chart invite us on a space trip from micro to macro. In this way, in the expanse of the space on the pages of a single book, many diverse images stretch over, invading across almost all the pages. Astronomers, instrument collections, star study, and scale chart. In other words, this book, being one, takes in 4 booklets. This book is one and at the same time is many. When the reader swings their hands in such a way that the pages are bent to the left, the Andromeda galaxies appears on the foredge. On the contrary, when they are bent to the right, a star chart by Flamsteed appears. This is Flamsteed's celestial chart. When pages are bent to the left, it shifts to the Andromeda galaxy. The reader is astonished when 2 different images suddenly appear when bent left or right. It is a one is many, many is one design. Started scattering stardust on the surface of a black paper. 4 themes, 4 books concealed within every 2-page spread. A group of constellations and the Grand Nebula making its appearance and disappearance at the cut end of the book. A complex book cosmos that incorporates 4 books and engulfs the universe. Every part of this book is the universe. Now let us look at the magazine called Paideia. This is from 1972, around 40 years ago. Paideia and 11 can be celebrated as something I designed for the first time as an aggregation of various things. The innovative philosopher of modern France, Michel Foucault, was especially introduced in Japan for the first time. 7 essays in written correspondence are conveyed. There is a complete change in the assembly here with a change in paper quality or paper color. That is to say, we have endeavored to design it as an aggregation of pamphlets. The chief editor, Mr. Mikitaka Nakano, approved of this idea, and then this project was realized thanks to the cooperation of Takyo Paper Company, who was the first to start selling fancy paper. The many research articles standing by themselves become one. At that time, it was a design that made one's eyes open in wonder. Then in 1974, there was a publication in which Mr. Koji Taki hosts 4 designers. Shiro Kuramata, who stands out as an interior designer, joins spirited architects like Kazuo Shinohara, Arata Isozaki, and I have participated also in the correspondence as a member. I have presented my theory of vision and origin of images. It is the first book of the Kisa Decor seminar series. In this book, the text is in 4 colors of craft paper, arranged in a gradation style, brings into spotlight unique conversations of 4 people. The set of books is also diverse. After that, 4 books of the series were published, and each one is designed with focused ingenuity. Next is The Age of Humans and Puppets. This was conceptualized at the same time as Summa Cosmographica by Mr. Shigeru Matsuoka and is the collection of works by Taruho Inagaki. It was published in 1975. The cover announces in sizable character that book is a collection of 3 works. The Age of Humans and Puppets is a collection of object essays, that is Mr. Taruo's forte, narrating the activity of Japan's futurism called Dadaism of the 1930s era, is The Moon Rose just as the cafe opened. In frank recitation, sweeping through the history of cosmology is a guide to cosmology. In the center of the book is a hole of 7 mm diameter. It gives a presentiment of the AO sense, which Mr. Taruho explains. This book, in its cover and binding, has ultra-short stories, minuscule short stories that take 1 line, 1 second. This is due to the choice of Mr. Matsuoka. The ultra-short stories on the spine allow one to read through them in a bookstore. The 3 parts of the book have layouts unrelated to each other. Especially the central section of The Age of Human and Puppets is framed by a series of kinetic photographs by Edward Muybridge. The book is such that the images move when we flip through the pages. Let us now look at it. This book is a commentary by Taruho Inagaki regarding this dark toy of a book, which is a work of art. It seems like all the grumbling on Taruho Inagaki's world outlook can be heard here. The next book is The World of Isamu Kenmochi, a pioneer in interior and furniture design in Japan, that is Isamu Kenmochi. It is a limited edition that is a collection of his creative activities. The book box has a special structure. That is because 5 books of different sizes and different ways of opening had to be stored in it. It was designed with the cooperation of the staff from Kenmochi office. The large-size photographs captured by Mr. Taihaku Ishimoto are arranged as powerful images. The imprint of this book has many names in it. The name of designer, editorial support, image support, photography support, production team, and then printing, plate making, printing, operation supervision, color printing staff, typography staff, names of people who gave encouragement. In all, close to 100 people's names have been included in the imprint of this book. This kind of imprint did not exist in those days and probably does not exist even after that. Truth be told, for a book to be made, it involves the cooperative participation of many people in the background. There are many novelists who write their name on the book and think that the book is completed. In reality, there are many staff, from those who pick up the writer's written work to those who take it to the printers. The editor also supports this idea. A book is finished thanks to a lot of people. The labor of many completes one book. This is something I have felt deeply in my heart from the 1970s. That is because I would frequently visit the printing place and perceive that it is actually the place where things get discarded or things get made. That is the idea that is established in the imprint. A book that is many, a book that is made by the hands of many people, a book that is one, the substantiation of itself.